Welcome to Simply Explained English. I am Lisa.
And I'm Eric. Do you want to improve your English easily? If so, you're in the right place.
So let's get started and make English easy. So Eric, what are the words today?
The first word today, tedious. Then we will continue with be willing to and to schedule. Then to run out of something. And the final one is on the house.
Let's start with the first word.
All right, Lisa. The first word we have is tedious.
Tedious.
Tedious is an adjective, and it means something that is boring, long, or repetitive, making you feel tired or uninterested. When something is tedious, it takes a long time to finish, and it's not very exciting.
If something is tedious, it means it's not exciting and can feel really long and tiring.
Let's look at the first example sentence. Filling out all the paperwork was so tedious that it took me hours to finish. This means that the paperwork was very boring and took a lot of time. It feels like it will never end.
Good example, Eric. Here's another one. Cleaning the garage was a tedious job, but it had to be done. It means that cleaning the garage was boring and took a lot of effort, but it was something that we needed to do.
Now, let's move on to a short dialogue to show how tedious can be used in a conversation.
I really don't enjoy cleaning the house. It's so tedious.
I know what you mean. Washing the dishes is the most tedious part for me.
Yeah, it takes forever and feels like it never ends.
That was a great example of how tedious can be used to describe a boring task. Eric, do you have any experiences where you found something tedious?
Oh yes, I remember helping my friend paint his entire house. It was so tedious because it took days and we had to do the same thing over and over again.
That sounds exhausting, Eric. I also remember a time when I had to organize all my files at work. It was really tedious, but I felt good when I finished it. So, Eric, do you think tedious is a common word in English?
It's not something you hear every day, but it's a useful word when you want to describe something that's really boring or takes too long. You'll often hear it when people complain about tasks that they don't enjoy.
And tedious is mostly used in both casual and formal conversations when you want to show that something is not enjoyable but still has to be done.
Exactly, Lisa. Okay, have we finished explaining tedious?
Yes, Eric. I hope our followers found the word tedious helpful. Let's move on to the next word.
All right, Lisa. The next word is be willing to.
Be willing to.
Be willing to is an adjective that means that you're ready or happy to do something. If you are willing to do something, it means you agree to do it and you don't mind doing it.
Exactly, Eric. If you are willing to do something, it means you're not being forced. You choose to do it, and you're okay with it.
Now, let's give some examples to explain it better.
Yes. Let me give the first example.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Here's the first one. She was willing to work late to finish the project. It means that she agreed to stay late and work because she wanted to help complete the project.
Good example, Lisa. Here's another one. I'm willing to help you move into your new apartment this weekend. It means that I am ready to help you move, and I don't mind doing it, even if it takes some effort. Now, let's talk about a quick grammar tip. Be willing to is always followed by a verb, like willing to help, willing to try, or willing to stay. It shows what action you are ready to take.
Absolutely, Eric. It's also important to note that be willing to is often used when someone is showing kindness or being helpful, even if it requires some extra effort.
Now, let's move on to a short dialogue to show how to be willing to can be used in conversation.
I heard you're looking for someone to help organize the event. Do you have anyone in mind?
Not yet. Are you willing to help out?
Sure, I'd be happy to help. I'm willing to do whatever you need.
It was a good example, Eric.
Yes, Lisa, it was useful.
Eric, do you have any experiences where you were willing to do something for someone?
Oh, definitely. I remember my neighbor needed help fixing his car, and even though I was tired, I was willing to give him a hand. It felt good to help out.
That was kind of you, Eric. I'm sure he appreciated the help. So is be willing to common in English?
Yes, very common. You'll hear it a lot in both work and everyday situations when people agree to do something or are happy to help. It's a polite way to say, I'm okay with this.
And to be willing to is used in both casual and formal situations. It's a great phrase to show that you're open to helping or taking action when needed.
Yes, that's right, Lisa.
Okay, well, I think we've covered the word. Let's move on to our next phrase.
All right, Lisa. The next word is to schedule.
To schedule.
To schedule is a verb, and it means to plan or arrange something to happen at a certain time.
If you schedule something, it means you're setting a time for it, like a meeting, a doctor's appointment, or even a study session.
Exactly. Let me give an example sentence. We need to schedule a meeting to discuss the new project. This means that we need to set a specific time for the meeting so that everyone knows when it will happen.
Great example, Eric. Here's another one. She scheduled an appointment with her dentist for next week. It means that she planned a time to see her dentist, and now it's set for a specific day.
Now, let's talk about a quick grammar tip. To schedule is often followed by the event or activity you are planning. For example, schedule a meeting, schedule an appointment, or schedule a call. It helps make what is being planned clear.
Now, let's move on to a short dialogue to show how to schedule can be used in conversation.
Hey, Jack. When are we going to meet up to work on the project?
I was thinking we could schedule it for Friday afternoon. Does that work for you?
That sounds perfect. Let's schedule it for 2 p.m.
That was a great example of how to schedule can be used to make plans. Eric, do you have any personal experiences where you had to schedule something important?
Oh, yes. I remember when we scheduled a big family gathering. It took a while to find a time that was available for everyone, but once we scheduled it, it was much easier to plan the rest.
That's a perfect example, Eric. I also remember scheduling my study time before exams. It helped me stay organized and made sure I had enough time to review everything.
Absolutely. So, listeners, remember, to schedule means to plan something at a specific time. It's useful for keeping everything organized and making sure things happen on time.
And to schedule is used in both casual and formal conversations. It's a helpful verb to use whenever you're planning an event, appointment, or anything else that needs to be organized.
Well said, Lisa.
Well, I think we've explained to schedule pretty well. Let's move on to our next word.
The next word is run out of something.
Run out of something.
Run out of something is a phrasal verb, and it means to use all of something so that there is none left. It's used when you no longer have any more of a certain item, like food, money, or time.
Exactly, Eric. If you run out of something, it means you've used it all up and now it's gone. It could be anything, like running out of gas in your car or running out of ideas during a discussion.
Now, let's move on to some examples to make it clearer. Here's one. We ran out of milk, so we need to go to the store. It means that we used all the milk we had, and now there's none left, so we have to buy more.
Great example. Here's another one. He ran out of time before he could finish the exam. It means that he didn't have enough time to complete the exam because all of his available time was used up.
Now, let's talk about a quick grammar tip. Run out of is always followed by the thing that you no longer have. For example, run out of fuel, run out of patience, or run out of money. It helps make it clear what exactly is gone.
Now, let's move on to a short dialogue.
Oh no, we've run out of plates. What should we do?
Don't worry, I'll go to the store and buy more. Anything else we're low on?
We're also running out of drinks. Can you grab some?
Sure, I'll get both.
That was a good example of how run out of can be used to talk about needing more of something. Eric, can you think of a time when you ran out of something really important?
Yes, I remember once I ran out of gas while driving. It was really stressful because I had to wait for help on the side of the road.
That sounds tough, Eric.
Yes, it was. What about you, Lisa?
I also remember running out of battery on my phone during an important call. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine, Lisa. So, listeners, run out of is very common. You'll hear it a lot in everyday conversations, especially when talking about things like food, time, or supplies. It's a useful phrase when you want to say that something is completely used up.
And it's a helpful way to express when you need more of something, or when something is finished. Okay, well, I think we've reached the last word. What is the last word of today, Eric?
All right, Lisa. The last word today is on the house.
On the house.
On the house is an idiom, and it means that something is free. Usually, it's used in restaurants or cafes when the owner or staff gives you something without charging you for it.
Exactly. If something is on the house, it means you don't have to pay for it, like a free drink or dessert given to a customer, to make them feel special or appreciated.
Now, let's move on to some examples to make it clearer.
Sure, Eric. Go ahead with the first example.
Here's one. The manager said that dessert was on the house because we had to wait so long for our food. It means that the manager didn't charge for the dessert as a way of apologizing for the long wait.
Great example, Eric. Here's another one. After we finished our meal, the waiter brought us some tea on the house. It means that the tea was given to us for free as a nice gesture from the restaurant.
Now, let's talk a little about the house. It's a great way to make customers feel valued. For example, sometimes restaurants will give a small dish or drink on the house to thank their regular customers.
Now, let's move on to a short dialogue to show how on the house can be used in conversation.
I can't believe how nice that dinner was. And did you see that they gave us dessert on the house?
Yeah, and did you notice they also gave us coffee on the house at the end? It made the whole experience even better.
Totally. I love it when places do something extra like that. It really makes you want to come back.
That was a great example of how on the house can be used to describe a kind gesture. So, Eric, do you think on the house is a common phrase in English?
Yes, it's pretty common, especially in restaurants and cafes. You'll hear it when places want to give something for free, usually to apologize or celebrate something special.
I agree. It's a polite and friendly way for businesses to make customers feel good.
Exactly. So remember, when you're at a restaurant or cafe and get something for free, they might say, "It's on the house."
It is a perfect summary, Eric. That's it for today's episode of Simply Explained English. We hope you found the words today helpful.
Thanks for listening. Keep studying your English.
See you next time.
Bye.